What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Gain and Grow. Picture this. You're carrying groceries up 3 flights of stairs. Your arms are burning, but your core feels rock solid. You're not even thinking about your breathing or balance because your body just moves with perfect control. That's not luck. That's what happens when you unlock the hidden power source that connects every single movement you make. Today, we're diving deep into something that will completely transform how you think about strength training. What if I told you that 90% of people are training their core completely wrong? They're doing endless crunches and planks, wondering why they still feel weak when they need real-world strength. The secret isn't in isolated movements that make you sweat on a gym mat. The real game changer lies in something called functional core training, and it's about to revolutionize your entire approach to fitness. Your core isn't just your abs. It's a complex system of muscles that includes your diaphragm, pelvic floor, deep abdominal muscles, and all the stabilizers that wrap around your spine and pelvis. Think of it as your body's natural power station. Every time you lift something, twist, bend, or even just stand up straight, this power station fires up to keep you stable and strong. But here's where most people go wrong. They treat their core like it's separate from the rest of their body. They lie on the ground and do isolated exercises that have nothing to do with how they actually move in real life. It's like training to be a pianist by only practicing scales with one finger. You might get that one finger really strong, but you'll never play beautiful music. Functional movements are exercises that mirror the way your body naturally moves throughout the day. When you squat down to pick up your child, that's a functional movement. When you reach overhead to grab something from a high shelf while maintaining your balance, that's functional movement. When you carry a heavy suitcase while walking through an airport, your core is working functionally to keep you upright and moving efficiently. The magic happens when you combine these real-world movement patterns with targeted core activation. Instead of just doing a plank, imagine doing a plank while reaching one arm forward and lifting the opposite leg. Suddenly, your core has to work 3 times harder to maintain stability, and you're training it the way it actually needs to work in real life. Let's start with something I call the foundation builder. Stand with your feet hip-width apart, arms by your sides. Now imagine there's a string pulling you up from the top of your head, while another force is gently drawing your belly button toward your spine. This isn't about sucking in your stomach or holding your breath. It's about finding that sweet spot where your core muscles are gently engaged, supporting your spine naturally. From this position, slowly reach your right arm overhead, while simultaneously lifting your left knee up toward your chest. Hold for 3 seconds, then return to the starting position. Switch sides and repeat. This simple movement is teaching your core to stabilize your body while your arms and legs are moving independently. It's exactly what happens when you're walking, running, or climbing stairs, but we're slowing it down so your nervous system can learn the pattern perfectly. The next level involves what I call dynamic stability challenges. These are movements that force your core to adapt and respond to constantly changing demands. One of my favorites is the single leg deadlift with a twist. Start standing on your right leg with a light weight in your left hand. Slowly hinge forward at the hips, extending your left leg behind you while lowering the weight toward the ground. At the bottom of the movement, rotate your torso to the left, bringing the weight across your body. This exercise is incredible because it combines hip stability, core rotation, and balance all in one movement. Your core has to work overtime to keep you from falling over while also controlling the rotation. It's like a full-body conversation where every muscle has to communicate perfectly with every other muscle. But functional core training isn't just about individual exercises. It's about understanding how your core integrates with every other system in your body. Your breathing patterns, for example, have a massive impact on core function. Many people breathe incorrectly, using only their chest and shoulders instead of their diaphragm. This creates tension in the wrong places and actually weakens core stability. Try this breathing exercise that will immediately improve your core function. Lie on your back with your knees bent and feet flat on the floor. Place one hand on your chest and one on your belly. As you breathe in, focus on expanding your rib cage outward while allowing your belly to rise slightly. The hand on your chest should barely move. As you exhale, gently draw your belly button toward your spine while allowing your rib cage to settle back down. This is diaphragmatic breathing, and it's the foundation of all core stability. Once you master this breathing pattern, you can apply it to every movement you do. Whether you're lifting weights, doing cardio, or just walking around, proper breathing will automatically improve your core function and overall strength. Now let's talk about progression. One of the biggest mistakes people make is jumping too quickly to advanced exercises before they've mastered the basics. Functional core training is like building a house. You need a solid foundation before you can add the fancy features. Start with simple movements that challenge your stability in one plane of motion, then gradually add complexity. For example, begin with a basic glute bridge. Lie on your back with knees bent, squeeze your glutes, and lift your hips off the ground. Hold for a few seconds, then lower down. This teaches your core and glutes to work together, which is essential for almost every functional movement. Once you can do 20 perfect glute bridges, progress to a single leg version. This immediately doubles the challenge because now one leg has to do all the work while your core fights to keep your hips level. From there, you might add arm movements or hold weights or perform the exercise on an unstable surface. The key is to always maintain perfect form while gradually increasing the challenge. If you find yourself compensating or using momentum to complete a movement, you've progressed too quickly. Step back to the previous level and spend more time building that foundation. One of the most powerful aspects of functional core training is how it transfers to real-life activities. I had a client who was a weekend warrior, playing tennis and hiking regularly. Despite being in decent shape, she constantly dealt with lower back pain and felt unstable during her activities. After just 6 weeks of focused functional core training, she reported feeling stronger and more confident in all her movements. Her tennis game improved because she could generate more power from her core, and her hiking endurance increased because she wasn't wasting energy on unnecessary stabilization. The transformation happened because we trained her core the way she actually needed to use it. Instead of endless sit-ups that had no relationship to tennis or hiking, we focused on exercises that mimicked the rotation, extension, and multiplanar movements required for her activities. Let's explore some advanced functional core movements that will take your strength to the next level. The bear crawl is an incredible full-body exercise that challenges your core in a completely different way than traditional exercises. Start on your hands and knees with your knees hovering just an inch off the ground. Now crawl forward, maintaining that hover position. Your core has to work constantly to keep your spine neutral while your arms and legs are moving. To make it even more challenging, try crawling backwards, sideways, or in different patterns. Each direction requires your core to adapt and respond differently. It's like a moving plank that constantly changes the demands on your stabilizing muscles. Another game-changing exercise is the Turkish get-up. This ancient movement takes you from lying on the ground to standing up while holding a weight overhead. It sounds simple, but it requires incredible coordination, stability, and core control. Every transition point in the movement challenges your core differently, making it one of the most comprehensive functional exercises you can do. The beauty of the Turkish get-up is that it forces you to be strong and stable in every position. You can't muscle through it with brute force, you have to move with control and precision, which teaches your core to function exactly the way it needs to in real-world situations. Loaded carries are another incredibly effective way to train functional core strength. Simply picking up heavy objects and walking with them creates massive demands on your core stabilization system. Try farmer's walks with weights in both hands, suitcase carries with weight on one side, or overhead carries where you walk while holding weight above your head. Each variation challenges your core differently. Bilateral carries teach symmetric stability, unilateral carries force you to resist side bending, and overhead carries challenge your ability to maintain neutral spine position while your center of gravity is elevated. The mental aspect of functional core training is just as important as the physical component. When you train your core functionally, you're not just building muscle strength. You're developing neuromuscular coordination, spatial awareness, and movement confidence. These psychological benefits often show up before the physical changes become visible. Many people report feeling more confident in their daily activities within the first few weeks of starting functional core training. They notice they stand taller, move more gracefully, and feel more stable during challenging movements. This confidence boost creates a positive feedback loop that makes them want to move more, which further improves their functional strength. Recovery and adaptation are crucial components of any effective training program. Your core muscles need time to rebuild and strengthen between training sessions. This doesn't mean you should avoid all core activation on rest days. Light movement, stretching, and breathing exercises can actually enhance recovery by promoting blood flow and maintaining mobility. Listen to your body and adjust your training intensity accordingly. Some days you might feel ready for challenging multiplanar movements, while other days a gentle yoga flow or basic stability work might be more appropriate. Consistency over intensity is the key to long-term success. Nutrition also plays a significant role in functional core development. Your core muscles need adequate protein to rebuild and strengthen, complex carbohydrates to fuel intense training sessions, and healthy fats to support hormone production and reduce inflammation. Staying properly hydrated is essential for optimal muscle function and recovery. The integration approach to functional core training means looking at your entire lifestyle, not just your workout time. How you sit at your desk, how you carry your bags, how you sleep, and even how you breathe throughout the day all impact your core function. Small improvements in these daily habits can dramatically enhance the benefits you get from your formal training sessions. Technology can be a helpful tool for tracking progress and maintaining consistency. Fitness apps that remind you to check your posture, breathing apps that guide you through diaphragmatic breathing exercises, or simple timers that remind you to take movement breaks throughout the day can all support your functional core development. However, don't become overly dependent on technology. The goal is to develop internal awareness and natural movement patterns that don't require constant monitoring or external cues. Use technology as a temporary scaffold while you build these habits, then gradually reduce your reliance on it. Creating a sustainable functional core training routine requires finding the right balance between challenge and recovery, structure and flexibility. Start with 2 to 3 focused sessions per week, allowing at least 1 day of rest between intense training days. As your strength and endurance improve, you can gradually increase frequency or intensity, but avoid doing too much too soon. The most important thing to remember is that functional core strength is a journey, not a destination. Your needs will change as you age, as your activities change, and as your fitness level improves. Stay curious, keep experimenting with new movements, and always prioritize quality over quantity. Your body is incredibly adaptable, but it needs time and consistent practice to develop new movement patterns. Be patient with yourself, celebrate small improvements, and trust the process. The strength you build through functional core training will serve you not just in the gym, but in every aspect of your active life. The power core you're building isn't just about looking good or lifting heavy weights. It's about moving through life with confidence, strength, and grace. It's about having the stability to play with your kids, the endurance to tackle challenging adventures, and the resilience to maintain your independence as you age. That's the true power of functional core training.